Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton said that while she thinks President Biden's age, which is a growing topic of concern among voters, is a legitimate issue, she advised him to lean into his years of experience. I talk to people in the White House all the time. They know it's an issue, but as I like to say, look, it's a legitimate issue. Clinton told MSNBC's Alex Wagner in a sit down interview earlier this week. It's a legitimate issue that for former President Trump, who's only 3 years younger. So it's an issue. The former First Lady continued, saying it could be difficult for both Biden and Trump to connect with certain voters because of their age. Instead, she said the president should focus more on the wisdom he's gained over the years. I think Biden also should lean into the fact that he's experienced, and that experience is not just in the political arena. It's like the stuff of, human experience, she said. I think he should be willing to really pull that out, and I think he should care more about it. According to a recent NBC News poll, Biden's age and health are serious issues of concern for voters. 76% of respondents had major or moderate concerns when asked if Biden, 81, has the mental and physical acuity to be the country's top leader. Clinton noted that while Biden makes the occasional joke about his age, he should do it more. At a press conference Thursday evening, Biden angrily defended himself after special counsel Robert Hur, who investigated his retention of classified documents at his Delaware home and former vice president's office, released his report, which painted the president as a sympathetic, well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. Biden insists that his memory was fine and that he knows what the hell I'm doing, although later in the press conference he mistakenly referred to the president of Egypt as the president of Mexico. Clinton argued that while Biden's age is an issue, voters should consider what's at stake in the election as he prepares for potential rematch against Trump, the likely GOP nominee. I'm for Joe Biden for re-election on the merits because I think he's done a really good job as president, Clinton said. So I think he should go. He should continue to get out and campaign. So Hillary was one of the worst politicians, I'd say, of the last 30 or 40 years. A lady that really seized on her husband's popularity to kind of sprint herself to this New York Senate seat, and then after really doing nothing of distinction as a senator for a term and a half, ran for president and lost to a person with the name that he had after only, less than 10 years after 9/11. And then finally was able to get the Democratic nomination against a socialist who they had to help her win the primary against, only to lose the general election to a game show host. She's not someone who should be giving anyone political advice. And there's a reason why after 2016, you really don't hear from her that often anymore. She's not likable. She's not charismatic. She is the epitome of power and name recognition and what it can do for you in a country that really prioritizes the popularity contest of, oh, but this person, they look like they know what they're doing. I'm glad that she admits that Biden's age is a legitimate issue. And I've said this before, you can't have the oldest president ever and act like we're just supposed to pretend that's not happening. But where she says that she thinks he would be benefited by talking about it more, I don't think so. I'm of the belief that it's one of those things. This is just the position I've had. If you have a good record, if you have positions that people actually agree with, they like, they support, whatever, you can get individuals to support you. I'd hate to bring him up, but he got mentioned earlier. Trump in 2016 campaigning as what would eventually be for a time the oldest president ever. Talked about the border wall, talked about trade. This was someone who there were voters that actually liked him, or at least had what he was saying had some resonance with them. They didn't care about his age. So I don't think age is as big of an issue as it's being made out to be by these polls. I think a lot of it just has to do with people feel like Biden is not really showing any type of energy. He's not charismatic. He's not good at really conveying a message. And this has played a big part in why he's seen his poll numbers decrease, in my opinion. Where she says, I'm for Joe Biden for election of merits because I think he's done a really good job as president, so I think he should continue to get out and campaign. That's her opinion. But what I just think is so comedic is that every time these politicians give endorsements, I started noticing this trend. It's like they can never. And Hillary really is the worst person to, I guess, be surprised by over this, because remember her stupid campaign logo was "I'm with her." So what I've noticed is that a lot of these politicians can't, when they're endorsing someone, they don't really talk about anything in particular. Like, hey, Biden has really stood by the unions. He got us out of Afghanistan. He, has aided Ukraine. Just something that she could at least tie to and say, I like this position. I like that he did that. Nothing. It's I think he's done a great job as okay. What are the examples of this great job that you speak of? Can you enlighten us? Maybe if you're one of the most famous women in all of political history, you would at the very least use your capital to actually make the case for why this man should get a second term. But she doesn't do that. She just says, well, he's done a good job for reasons I cannot explain or choose not to explain. And Trump is bad, so support him again. And I just don't think that's going to be enough this time around. If I hope they're able to get a better campaign message than that, or you could end up seeing Trump become the second president after Grover Cleveland to get a second non-consecutive term. But I really hope Biden doesn't actually try to get Hillary to consult him, to team up with him, to do campaign events for him. Because I heard that they're going to bring back Bill and Obama to try and do a fundraiser with him. And the two of them are moderately, well, Clinton no longer is, but Obama's very popular among Democrats. So really, all I can say is I hope for his sake he doesn't get crazy enough to try and get Hillary involved. I think that's a recipe for disaster. There's a reason, like I said before, why after 2016 you almost never hear from this lady. Because what happened after that race? She wasn't humble. She didn't really do anything besides go to Trump's inauguration, stay quiet for a month or two, and then start having diarrhea of the mouth, put out a book that blamed everybody but her what happened. She has thrown herself into irrelevance. And I covered this story because it's interesting seeing losing candidates who have no support system whatsoever try to tell other people how they can win an election. I find that fascinating. Imagine losing to a game show host who never even held office before, and you're going to talk about the benefits of experience. Yeah, I was a 2-term senator, term and a half. You want to get technical, and Secretary of State for a term, 4 years, and I lost to a game show host. But experience matters. It's something that we should talk about. Tell you, that lady has learned nothing. It's been, God, what, 6, 7 years, close to 8 years since she lost to Trump, and you could almost take all that time and just rewind it, and you'll see no evolution on her part. It's the same old strategies that have failed in the past, and hopefully no one else listens to her from this point onward.